They weren't just valuable. They were the core of everything. They were the backbone of power, the physical manifestation of belief, and the irrefutable proof that, one day, a civilization existed at the height of its glory. They were treasures that could not be quantified. They were priceless. They shaped the world map. They built and toppled entire empires. They defined civilizations. Think of pure gold, irreplaceable art, relics that carried the history of the world. And then, in the blink of an eye, under the weight of wars, invasions, curses, or nature's blind fury, they simply vanished, literally evaporated from the face of the earth, leaving behind only whispered legends and dusty maps from sunken war fleets whose hulls now rest in the depths guarding unimaginable fortunes, to sacred relics stolen from ancient temples, from forgotten and abandoned government vaults filled with secrets and cursed gold. This is the hunt. For 5 centuries, they have been sought with obsession, with madness, by kings, dictators, desperate treasure hunters, and renowned explorers. The whole world knows their names. The whole world knows what they represented. But no one knows where they are. This is the definitive dossier. These are the stories of mystery, luxury, and greed that persist through the centuries. Brace yourself, for these are the most precious pieces, the greatest legends. These are the greatest lost treasures that are still missing today.
Case 1. The gold of the Inca Empire. The Lost Sun.
For the Andean world, gold wasn't wealth, it was divinity. In the 1500s, the Inca Empire stretched like a golden web across South America. Its capital, Cusco, was the center of a universe where the precious metal didn't serve as currency, but as an offering. The Incas called it Sipis, the tears of the sun, for they believed it was the sweat of the god Ini, the sun. Temples were clad, palaces decorated, and there were whole rooms, chronicles say, where gold was the structure itself, not just an adornment. Imagine the temple of the sun, the Coricancha, walls lined with sheets of solid gold that reflected sunlight in a blinding myriad, gardens where corn was made of silver and llamas of gold, planted in earth made of nuggets. This was an empire filled with gold. But the largest and most coveted piece was never exposed in temples. It was linked directly to the power of Emperor Huayna Capac. It was the legendary gold chain. Spanish historians and chroniclers described it as something colossal. It wasn't a common jewel. It was a symbol of dynastic union, forged for his son's naming ceremony. It is said it was so heavy it required dozens of Inca warriors to transport it. Some documents speak of a chain with the diameter of a human wrist and over 100 meters long, designed to encircle the entire main square of Cusco during celebrations. Its value was immeasurable, both materially and spiritually. It was the very golden soul of the empire. In 1532, this world of gold and glory collided brutally with greed and steel. Francisco Pizarro and his conquistadors advanced, thirsty for the opulence that had been reported to them. When the Spanish invasion became inevitable, Emperor Atahualpa, before being captured, gave the secret and final order. The greatest Inca treasure, the chain of the sun, could not fall into the hands of the profane invaders. The gold chain and incalculable other fortunes disappeared in a matter of days, swallowed by the mountains and lakes the Spanish could never tame. A persistent legend says the chain was taken and thrown to the bottom of a sacred lake in the Andes, in what was the greatest and most painful sacrifice of a nation. Other stories claim that Inca's faithful subjects transported it in procession along the Inca Trail, hiding it in the depths of a secret city, perhaps Paititi. 5 centuries had passed since that day. Thousands of treasure hunters, from Spanish conquistadors to modern explorers, have searched obsessively for this gold that defies history. Many made the journey, many were lost, but none returned with Huayna Capac's chain. It remains the sun god's best kept secret. What happened to the chain and the gold that accompanied it is a question worth more than all of modern Peru. The Inca sun is still lost, hidden under the cold skies of the Cordillera. Case 2. Amber Room, the 8th wonder of the world. We leave the mysticism of the Incas and travel to the heart of Europe, to a luxury that transcended imagination. What we are seeking now wasn't just gold, but a masterpiece of Baroque art so magnificent it was rightfully dubbed the 8th wonder of the world. This is the story of the legendary Amber Room. Think of an entire room, not just a few decorative pieces, but entire walls. Almost 6 tons of Baltic amber, the gold of the north, polished and carved, adorned with gold leaf, mirrors, and precious mosaics. It was a gift from King Frederick William I of Prussia to Tsar Peter the Great of Russia in the early 18th century as a symbol of peace and alliance. When installed in the Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg, the room radiated a warm, golden glow. Kings, diplomats, collectors, and the world's most powerful were dazzled by its splendor. It was a place where light danced, transforming fossilized resin into pure architectural magic. But the story of beauty gave way to the horror of war. During World War II, in 1941, Nazi troops invaded the Soviet Union. Aware of the Amber Room's inestimable value, Russian curators tried desperately to protect it. They covered it with simple wallpaper, but it was impossible to hide its scale. The Nazis found it. They didn't burn it. They didn't destroy it. They did something much more methodical and terrifying. They stole it, under the expert direction of the Sonderkommando Kunstberg. The room was meticulously dismantled. Panel by panel, frame by frame, everything was created with military precision. It was an unprecedented art heist operation. The crates were loaded and sent by train, crossing devastated Europe. To Königsberg Castle in East Prussia, what is today Kaliningrad, it was displayed there for a brief period, a trophy piece, proof of Nazi arrogance. And then, once again, history repeats itself. When the Allies approached and Königsberg was under heavy bombardment, the Amber Room vanished. It was its last historical record. What happened next is a maze of conspiracy theories and feverish searches. Some insist it was destroyed, burned in a massive air raid in 1944, but many others, and this is what fuels the mystery, believe the Red Army or the Reich itself secretly evacuated it. Was it sealed in underground tunnels, hidden in a forgotten bunker in Poland or East Germany? Its location has been, for over 80 years, one of the greatest secrets behind the Iron Curtain. Governments spent millions on the search. Dozens of treasure hunters dedicated their lives to solving the mystery, but to this day, not a single one of its original 450 kilos of panels has been recovered. The eighth wonder of the world remains lost, waiting to be discovered in the depths of some forgotten ruin. Case 3. The treasure of the San Jose ship, the holy grail of shipwrecks. We leave the continent, its buried secrets behind, and dive into an ocean of greed. What lies beneath the waves off the coast of Colombia is not just a shipwreck. It is the holy grail of sunken treasures. This is the story of the Spanish galleon San Jose. Imagine the height of the Spanish Empire. Its treasure fleets, the galleons, crossed the Atlantic, carrying wealth extracted from the colonies to fund wars and luxuries in Europe. In 1708, the San Jose was the flagship of this fleet, the jewel in the crown. Its hold was loaded with a fortune that would rewrite the financial history of any nation. Conservative estimates today, adjusted for historical value, place its contents at over $20 billion. We are talking about 11 million gold and silver coins, the scudos, and reals minted in Pompeian and Lima Plus chests filled with raw Colombian emeralds. The most valuable commodity of all, it was, by far, the richest treasure ship of its time. But that wealth was also a target. Europe was immersed in the War of the Spanish Succession, and the British were lurking. On June 8, 1708, off the Bar Peninsula, on the coast of Cartagena, the San Jose was intercepted by a squadron of British warships. It wasn't a calm sinking. It was a brutal combat, a storm of cannons and fire. The British ship expedition struck the San Jose, and a fateful shot, possibly targeting the powder magazine, sealed its fate. The galleon exploded and sank in minutes, taking its crew of 600 men and all its fortune to a depth that would hide it for centuries. Only 11 people survived. For 307 years, the exact location of the San Jose remained the planet's greatest maritime enigma. Thousands of square kilometers of ocean were scanned. Myths and legends about the lost coordinates became diver folklore. The Colombian Navy and private explorers searched tirelessly, until, in 2015, using cutting-edge technology, a deep dive brought news that shocked the world. A shipwreck was discovered that was believed to be, without a shadow of a doubt, the San Jose, the crown jewel of shipwrecks. But the treasure, the gold, the silver, the $20 billion in emeralds remains at the bottom of the sea. Why? Because its value triggered a war. Not a war of cannons, but a legal and political war. The San Jose is now the center of a complex international dispute. Colombia claims the ship as national heritage and a war grave. Spain invokes the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, claiming ownership of a warship, and salvage companies, which originally helped find it, demand their share. Official documents stamped classified and court battles keep the San Jose locked beneath the waves. The greatest sunken treasure in history sits untouched, guarded by secrecy and politics, waiting for justice or perhaps greed. to decide its fate. Case 4. The Templar Treasure, the Brotherhood's Secret. We leave the depths of the ocean and return to dry land, but this time, we dive into the depths of medieval history and religious intrigue. This isn't a treasure of Inca gold, nor amber lost in war. This is a treasure of legends and faith. We are speaking of the greatest military religious order the West has ever known, the Knights Templar. For 2 centuries, the Order of the Temple was the backbone of a financial empire that stretched across all of Europe. The Templars were the guardians of pilgrims, the heroes of the Crusades, and, crucially, the most powerful bankers of their time. They invented the traveler's check system, amassed lands, castles, and an astronomical amount of gold and assets, so much so that they lent money to kings and popes. Their wealth wasn't just material. It was the power that gave them immunity and influence over monarchs. Their fortune was a threat to the kings they served, and it was exactly this power that led to their downfall. On Friday, October 13, 1307, a date that remains linked to bad luck, King Philip IV of France, deeply indebted to the order, gave the secret command for their annihilation. In an orchestrated move, Templars across France were arrested on false charges of heresy and devil worship. It was a financial coup d'etat disguised as an inquisition. Philip's goal was to confiscate their vast treasure to settle his own accounts. But King Philip failed in his main objective when his officers raided the Templar headquarters, including their main fortress in Paris. The vaults were empty. The fortune, the gold, the holy relics, the vital documents, everything vanished. The Templars, with their spy network and efficient communication system, had been warned. Where is this treasure? The mystery is its own castle. Stories speak of secret tunnels running beneath their headquarters in Paris, leading to an escape network. Legends persist about the transport of countless wagons loaded with gold, taken to the coast and boarded onto mysterious ships said to have fled to Scotland. Other theories point to Portugal, where the order simply changed its name, taking its wealth and secrets with it. Every clue discovered leads to another riddle. Every alleged vault is empty. The Templar treasure is not just gold. It is the key to the true story of their survival and legacy. If it still exists, hidden by a brotherhood sworn to keep it safe, it remains the most sought after and theorized treasure in human history. Inca gold, the mystical chain of the sun, the incomparable amber room, stolen by the shadows of war, the San Jose galleon, the sunken fortune under a storm of cannons and legal secrets, and the eternal enigma of the Templar treasure, which defies kings, popes, and centuries for treasures, for legends, for fortunes that, alone, could rewrite the GDP of a small nation. They came from completely different origins, from different centuries, from continents and cultures that never touched, but they all share the same fascinating question. Can something so powerful, so massive, so historically relevant, simply disappear forever? Is it conceivable that tons of gold, thousands of emeralds, and 6-ton amber panels were swallowed by nothingness? Perhaps the chain is still buried in the muddy bottom of an Andean lake, waiting for the right explorer. Perhaps the amber room is sealed in a secret chamber in Poland, guarded by oblivion. Perhaps the San Jose just needs lawyers, not divers, to resolve its fate. Or, perhaps, the most intriguing truth is this: the treasures that become legends were, perhaps, never meant to be found. Perhaps their real value lies not in their material wealth, but in the mystery they preserve. Because fortunes, whether Inca or imperial, can be stolen, spent, or rusted, but legends endure forever. Now we want to know your opinion. Which of these legendary treasures, the lost son, the eighth wonder, the holy grail of shipwrecks, or the secret of the brotherhood do you believe, deep down, is still out there and will one day be discovered? Leave your comment with your theory, your guess, and your justification, and let's try to unravel these mysteries together. If you were fascinated by these lost fortunes, don't forget to like this video to support us, and subscribe to the channel to unlock more dossiers on hidden treasures here on the Hidden Hoards Files.